All right, here we are. John Kelley is on the final episode of Old Crow Hiking Show.
It's the last one that you have to suffer through that I'm going to be a part of.
I'm so thankful that he agreed to do this. I've done enough of these, but I wanted to end with the high note. With John Kelley.
Oh, bro, that's just a sad statement right there. But I'm glad to be part of it.
Well, thanks.
I'm glad to be part of it. You've had some of my favorite backpackers on here, so.
Absolutely. We were out overnight at Indian Staircase. Right there.
This is beautiful.
So we got a good backdrop. So I'm going to ask some questions, but I really don't want to stick to the script because I just really want to hear what you got to say about some stuff.
Okay, sounds great, man. Sounds awesome.
I will start with the one that I always start with, and that is, can you tell us a little bit how you got started in backpacking?
Back in 2015, I had just come off of a surgery on a sports hernia. Pretty bulbous at the time. I'd maybe been on 2 hikes my entire life at that point. But a good friend of mine called me and he said, hey, you want to get lunch? I want you to join me for an adventure. And I was like, you want me to join you for an adventure? Now, I have to just put a disclaimer on this. This guy had just finished, literally, just finished running 100 marathons in 100 straight days from Los Angeles to New York City.
What?
He had swam across Lake Michigan. He had biked the Transcontinental Route. He'd hiked the Appalachian Trail. He'd hiked the entire width of the United States. And he was asking me to go on an adventure with him. And so he comes in and halfway through lunch, I said, okay, drop the bomb. Tell me what's going on. He says, I want you to climb Mount Kilimanjaro with me. And for people who don't know, Mount Kilimanjaro is the world's tallest freestanding mountain. In other words, it's not part of a mountain range. It's just a mountain standing in the middle of a field, basically, a rather large field. But it's over 19,000 feet high. It's in Tanzania, Africa.
Wow.
And he wanted me to climb that. I just looked him in the face and I said, Darren, fat guys don't climb mountains. Just left it at that, and he just looked at me and said, well, stop being fat. And I couldn't fight with him on that. So over the next year, I worked out, raised funds, got gear that I've never owned before. Mm-hmm. I never owned backpacking gear. And also raised another $7,000 or $8,000 to donate to build a well in a village in Ethiopia.
Nice.
As a team, when all was said and done, I think we raised about $115,000.
Wow.
There were 16 of us. And so that was the whole point of it, was to raise the funds to build wells in Ethiopia. And so that was kind of the start of it for me. That was really more hiking than backpacking, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then 2 years later, I did the Sheltowee Trace with Brian Carpenter, who's known as The Flash.
Absolutely.
He's actually out on the Colorado Trail right now. But we went to college together, and I had watched his Appalachian Trail hike, and he had watched me do Kilimanjaro. And he was just, I just looked at him and said, dude,
do it.
Let's do something together.
Yeah.
And he hadn't done any long trail hiking since 2012. Both of us had to get ready for that.
300, how many miles?
At the time it was said 323, but it was more than that.
Okay.
It was at least 330. It's about 350 now, I believe, with the added stuff they've done on the trail. But it's a great trail. It's a difficult trail. It goes from the Big South Fork in Tennessee all the way through the state of Kentucky up to Moorhead.
And it's actually right down there too, right?
Yeah, we hiked some of it today.
Yeah.
So yeah, awesome. But that's kind of how it all got started.
As far as your favorite trail, then would you have a favorite trail?
Oh yeah, it's the Sheltowee Trace.
Sheltowee, okay,
100%. Yeah, 100%. I love the Sheltowee Trace, and I think that's for anybody who does a long trail.
Yeah. That
first one is kind of the one that it grabs your heart, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and you just kind of like, it's always going to be there. I probably hike an extra 250, 300 miles of the Sheltowee Trace every year.
Right.
Just from being out here at the Gorge and being in the Big South Fork.
Yeah.
Because it just weaves through so much of the state.
Right.
And a lot of the best places to go hiking in Kentucky are along the Sheltowee Trace.
Absolutely. Well, is there something specific about backpacking that keeps bringing you back?
It's always going to be the payoff.
Yeah.
If all I'm going to do is hike through like the Green Tunnel and then find a campsite, it's not worth it.
Right.
But I mean, we got a payoff.
Yeah.
You know, we get to look back here and see this, and that changes everything, because it's like, to me, that's everything for me in backpacking. I love the community. I love the people I get to backpack with. I love the camping. I love the hiking. But for me, if I want the payoff, and probably that Kilimanjaro probably ruined that for me.
Because that was a view.
I worked 6 days to get that payoff.
Wow.
You know, there's just something about when you work so hard and then you get to see that.
Yeah.
There's just, words can't explain it. That's why I don't like weightlifting.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
It's never an end.
It's like, so I'm gonna lift it and then pull it back and then lift it and drop it again and then lift it and drop it again. I'm getting.
Why am I doing this?
This sucks. Like, I hate this. Like, exercise bikes, I'm pedaling forever and I'm going nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I like hiking so much, because I can get on a trail. I can decide where I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
And I get that workout in, but I also get that payoff at the end. So for me, it's the payoff.
If I flip that, is there something like
Spider
specific?
webs.
Oh, spider webs. And you said it right away.
Boom, spider webs.
Okay.
I hate spider webs. Somehow, like, especially if I'm backpacking with a newbie, I'm always at the front. And so when we get up in the morning and we go hiking, because I'm usually a pretty early guy. Like, I usually get up fairly early. So I get up early in the morning and I get on the trail and I start hiking. Of course, I'm getting every spider web in my face. I do a lot of day hiking.
Yeah.
And I'll try and do my day hikes before I go to work. And so I'll do like a 4-mile day hike, get out in the trail around 6:30, get done by 8:30, and I hit every spider web. I'll come back and my hat is just like spider webs everywhere, and my hiking poles and my glasses.
So blazing.
Oh,
right?
my beard. I remember one time I came home, my wife just starts laughing. I go, what? She goes, you got a huge web hanging off your beard.
Oh,
you know? Which, I miss my beard, by the way. I should
Yeah,
not have shaved it off.
you have shaved it way down.
I'm so mad about it.
Jeremiah did too.
Yeah, he wanted to. I didn't.
Yeah.
Mine was an accident.
Okay.
I had a guard on. It said it was an 8.
It said okay, and it was.
That was not an 8, dude.
It was like a 3.
That was like a 2 is what it felt like, because it shaved it all off. I was so mad.
Yeah, because y'all's logo is the outline of the glasses
for the podcast.
and the beard. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
If you're not backpacking, what do you do for fun?
I spend time with my family. I love my kids. They're 3 and 4 right now, so they're so much fun.
Yeah.
So I love to take my little girl camping.
Oh, man.
I took her on her first trip
Yeah.
a few weeks ago. It was just a really good excuse to buy a $500 tent. But it's like 80 inches in the middle.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a bedroom. It's a
Yeah.
bedroom, and it's got a huge awning on the front where you can set chairs under it if it's raining and just hang out in there. And it was her first time camping, and I knew that it needed to be like an over-the-top good experience because she's 4.
Yeah, you got to bring them back. Something, yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be something great. So we called a friend, and they had a farm, and they had 3 little girls, and 2 of the little girls kind of sandwich her in age.
Okay.
And so we went out to their farm, and the girls wanted to camp out because we were, so they got a tent out too. She got to play with the little girls, and
Nice.
we had a campfire, and we made like little hobo pies.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
We take the bread and put them in those metal things.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we did those, and man, it was just awesome.
That's
and she had the best time, and so I'm looking forward more to that. My wife has told me if we had a camper, she would camp.
Okay.
So
Good excuse to buy a camper.
Yeah, so it might be time to start a Patreon. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe time to start a Patreon. But no, she really wants. She said she just can't do the no air conditioning thing.
Yeah, my wife won't either.
Yeah, like she just has told me I'm not going with you.
I get it.
Dude, your wife is super nice, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
This has nothing to do with this interview at all, but your wife and your kids too
Oh, thanks.
are
man.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like okay, so here's the deal. I got to go down to Alabama and hike with this guy. Me and my friend Josh, who's in several of my videos now, but the 2 of us went down, and instead of getting a hotel, he told us just stay at my house. So we were like, okay. So we went to his house. He took us out to a barbecue restaurant.
Oh, Jimmy Nick's. Yeah.
That was so good. Oh, there's little biscuits. Anyways, so we went out and had dinner, came back, hung out with his family, and they are the nicest people on the face of the planet. So like,
Thanks, man.
So like, we already knew Crow was nice. You just gotta watch his videos, but man, they were just awesome. So there you go. I just had to say that.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Yeah.
I had to say it.
That was a
Don't
fun
take
trip.
that out of the video either. No,
I'll leave it in.
Okay, good.
We talked about stuff that you do for fun, but you also have a ministry.
Yeah.
Which is, I know, fun, but you're also giving to the community with your ministry. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I'm actually switching roles within. It's weird. I work at a church that's only about 13 years old, and I helped start the church.
Absolutely.
Back in
That's awesome.
2008. And I started out as a worship minister. So my role was I did all the music and worship leading. And after about 11 years of that, I got kind of burnt out. Like, I didn't want to listen to music anymore. I didn't want to play my guitar.
Yeah, you put your guitar down for years, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, about 6 months ago, I started picking it back up again. So that's been good. But I moved into a role during COVID where I became what they call the minister of engagement. I've been doing YouTube for a couple years, a year at that point. All the stuff I had learned from YouTube, all of a sudden we needed it in our church because we couldn't meet. We couldn't be in our building.
Oh, because of COVID. Yeah.
And so all the stuff that I had learned doing the backpacking podcast and doing my channel, all of a sudden we needed that. We sat down as a leadership and everybody said, John, can you just take this on? We'll take away everything else basically, and you just focus on this. And so that's what they did. And I became what we call Minister of Engagement. As of August 1st, I actually go back to also being the worship guy again.
Ah, okay.
So I will be taking the music part back over again.
I see.
I've been doing music since, high school.
And almost, y'all had like you've recorded some songs. I've heard
recorded
the songs.
a few albums, and I've done some stuff like that, which was fun. It's just more for me than anything else.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I know I'm no rock star, so I wasn't trying to do anything like that. But it was a lot of fun getting to write my own music and do some recording. And I've gotten a chance to play some pretty big shows. I've sung at Carnegie Hall.
Wow.
I've gotten to sing at what used to be the RCA Dome, where
oh my gosh,
Indiana
really?
Hoosiers at the Rupp Arena there in Lexington. Sung at several different big event things and outdoor events and stuff like that. So I had some really cool opportunities.
I've heard the music. It's really, really good.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. But it's been fun. And one of the things that I'm hoping to do eventually is I want to take what I'm doing with YouTube and with all of this and really try and go out and help guys get out into the backcountry.
Absolutely.
Because I think a lot of men nowadays, especially since COVID, like COVID really made this bad, but a lot of guys, they get home from work, they eat their dinner, they sit down and they hit that remote and they watch TV, maybe watch some sports the whole day, and then they go to bed. They get up the next morning, eat their breakfast, go to work, do this whole thing for a whole week. And it's just miserable.
And we weren't built for that.
No, dude, we're built for adventure. And so I wanna create something where guys can get out into the woods. And what's different about my story than a lot of other guys, I'm not like some athlete. I'm not some like phenomenally in shape guy. I'm a bigger dude, but I still do it. I hiked the Sheltowee Trace at 250 pounds. Why are people saying at 220 they can't? It's like I think we don't realize what our bodies are capable of. And we don't let our minds grasp that. And so we just kind of hold ourselves back. Yeah. We doubt ourselves and we don't do stuff. Which is funny because last year when we came here, my body told me no.
That's right.
Do you remember
I forgot that. Yeah, you had heart palpitations and because of heat.
Yeah, it was probably 95 degrees that day.
Yeah.
And I think it was 100% humidity. I actually went back and looked at the weather a few weeks ago because it's kind of part of my story. But I looked at that and I got out here and was hiking with you guys, and I was actually hiking with Mark.
Yeah. And
Jeremiah yells down to us from up above on one of the ridges and goes, "You guys coming?" I said, "Maybe." He goes, "You got this, man." I said, "Actually, I don't know if I do."
Yeah.
And I've never done that. I was really nervous, and you guys ended up hiking back down to Gray's Arch, and I just went straight back to the car or to the truck, turned on the air conditioning and sat there for 2 hours and waited for you guys.
Yeah.
I was running a 100-degree temperature for 2 days.
You were kind of ashy white when you got there.
It was bad. It wasn't a cop-out. I was genuinely in bad shape. Mm-hmm. And that was the day when it all clicked for me. I think at that point I was right around 290 pounds. I realized I'm just way too big. Way too big. This is stupid. I've got to change it. Since then, I'm down around 240. One of the things I didn't want to do is I didn't want to do a crash diet and do the whole thing where I'm going to lose 80, 100, 1,000 million pounds, and then 2 weeks later all of it's back. I knew I needed a lifestyle change. Instead of going hard and trying to do this big weight loss, I've been going at it intentional. Really trying to say, okay, what does my life look like? What things can I tweak to be healthier, but not make me miserable at the same time? Right. Funny thing is, I found the keto diet a few months back.
Yeah, everybody's really loving that.
I actually really like it. A lot of people say that you can't eat anything, and I'm like, you can eat more than you think. I had a chicken sandwich today on wheat bread.
Nice.
It was just the wheat bread only had 1 carb per slice.
It's all about the carbs,
yeah,
right?
it's all about sugar, really.
Yeah.
Fiber's great. You can eat as much fiber as you want. You just can't eat sugar. I think what separates me from a lot of other backpackers is that the fight that I'm fighting and the struggle I've gone through over the last several years is one that a lot of people are going through.
A lot of people have it.
But they don't want to talk about it.
Right.
They don't want it to be brought to light. They want to ignore it. And so when I put out my video that I failed, I think was what I called it, I failed. Mm-hmm. And I just talked about this weight loss thing and what happened. I put at the end of it, if any of you are struggling with your weight and you want some accountability, shoot me an email.
Yeah. Just
shoot me an email. Let me know, what's going on. I was expecting 4 or 5 people.
Well, you've got a huge Facebook group now.
The Facebook group's 94 people.
Wow.
Of people that are overweight, trying to lose weight, or people who are out of shape and trying to get in shape. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't want it to be a thing of, it's just for fat people. I wanted it to be for people that are just trying to get better.
Just lifestyle change.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of people that are in it, people that are YouTubers that aren't not small YouTubers, guys who you would be shocked if you knew they were in the group, but they're there, and they have the same struggle, and they've never wanted to talk about it. And they still don't like talking about it, but they will in that group, and that's been good. I get a lot of emails throughout the week of people sharing their stories and what they've been through and what they're going through, and it just gives me an opportunity just to kind of reach out and encourage and help people get past that, because I'm not one of these people. I don't want to do a YouTube channel so that I get a bunch of likes and I get a bunch of views and I get a bunch. If it's not helping people, if it's not something that's actually useful, then I'm not going to do it. Yeah. You know, it's just not worth it for me. For me personally, everything I do, I want to serve people. Like I want to help people. Yeah. It's just kind of how I'm made. It kind of annoys people sometimes because, especially my wife sometimes, because I got to go. What's going on? I'm so struggling with blah 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 blah. Okay. I mean, that doesn't bother her, but it's just like there are times when I have to be on phone calls, you know, and it might be at dinner time or, you know, whatever, but I'm always about helping people out.
Well, that's kind of that minister servant in you that brings you to be a minister anyway.
Yeah, well, my dad was a preacher too, so it's like, so I grew up with that in my life, like since I was a baby.
You saw him and it kind of instilled in you.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's where I got my tattoo for. It's Greek. It says son of the father. When my dad passed away, I think it was 2009, he passed away from esophageal cancer. And when he passed away, I wanted to have something to memorialize him. I went and got this tattoo made, and the reason it's here is because I want to be able to see it every time I was playing my guitar.
Awesome.
Because that was a big part of my life at that point. And the reason it's in Greek is because my dad could actually read fluent Greek.
Oh, wow.
Like, he would do his, for people who don't go to church or anything like that, a lot of times people who are Christians will do devotions. They'll just read their Bible during the day. And my dad would do his devotions in the morning, and he would open up his Bible and do them, and I wouldn't think anything of it. Well, one day I walked by, and he was reading straight from a Greek Bible.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. It was mind-blowing.
That's awesome.
I mean, my dad was a highly intelligent man, so he didn't pass that on to me. But I got some other stuff. But no, so that's why the tattoo's here. I mean, is just his influence on my life.
I can say, just another person of faith, or, you know, have that kind of mindset, a person of faith, that all the things that you've talked about, you know, getting into YouTube, which led to help you in your ministry, all those things, I think it's part of God's plan, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
I guess I'll ask you one more question, the last question.
You can ask me as many questions as you want.
I appreciate it, John. The last thing I would say is, if you were to talk to somebody and say, okay, I want this lifestyle change, I want to get in the outdoors, I want to get into backpacking, what advice would you give them?
Just go do it. I mean, like, go to Walmart and buy some cheap backpacking gear and go do an overnight, you know? And if it fails, go buy something better. I think a lot of times as YouTubers, the backpacking YouTubers, we fail people a little bit because we get them thinking that if they're not using ultralight $500 gear, that they can't go backpacking.
Right.
And I think it's intimidating to people. And so I guess I would encourage people, don't put your faith in backpacking on YouTubers.
That's a good point.
But, you know, just go buy some gear, some random gear, throw it on your back and go. And then when things don't work, figure out what those things are. Go research it. I think the biggest problem most people have with stuff is they just wait and they wait and they wait and they wait. You watch Spaceballs, right?
Oh, love Spaceballs, yeah.
And they kept preparing to fire. preparing. And he goes, well, you quit preparing and just fire. I think that's people like with backpacking. They just keep preparing and preparing. It's like, well, you just go out on a trail.
Just do it.
Like, there are so many everywhere. Yeah. Like, that's the mind-blowing thing about the United States. There are trails in every state. I think once people get out, it becomes very addictive very quickly.
It does, yes.
And so my biggest advice is just go do it. Like Michael Jordan says, just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. That's an old reference because I am old.
Yeah, we're children of the 80s.
Yes, we are, man. We are. We grew up in another time and place.
I love the 80s. I miss it.
I'm one of these like guys that, like, I love every generation. Like, there's something from everyone that I like. I hope this doesn't like offend people or cause people to like me less, but I was actually an NSYNC fan. I know. But you know why I was an NSYNC fan?
Because of Bye Bye Bye? No.
But I did like that song.
I like that song.
I went through a breakup at that time, so I really liked that song. Yeah, I really did. But no, what I liked about them was they actually were musicians.
They were. Well, Timberlake is a songwriter.
Yeah, they all were. I mean, it was one of those things that I saw. I think it was Oprah. I watched Oprah 4 times in my life, and one of them was NSYNC. And the other 2 times were 98 Degrees, and Backstreet Boys, because I was watching these. She had boy bands the whole week, and I remember I wanted to watch them just so I can make fun of the fact they can't sing for real. 98 Degrees could not. It was like Nick Lachey had two guys that couldn't sing. That's what it felt like. It was terrible. And then Backstreet did, and it was like the next day NSYNC came on, and they sang, and it sounded like an album.
Yeah.
And I went, wow.
They knew music.
I'm like, I want to make fun of them, but I can't. And it really bothered me, and so I just became a fan. Long story short, if you got anything from this, forget all the stuff about like losing weight,
check
being a
out
better
NSYNC.
person. Just go listen to old NSYNC albums.
Well, John, thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
I really appreciate it. Thank you a lot for doing
Absolutely,
this.
bro.
We were going to be checking out the Indian Staircase the rest of the day, so we're up here camping tonight, and I'm so thankful that to end the Old Crow Hiking Show with John Kelley. Thank you, John, and we won't see you next time on the Old Crow Hiking Show, because this is it. I'm going to end Old Crow. If you liked them, I'm sorry, we're done. But thank you guys for hanging in there.
Sign a petition, we can bring them back.
You can bring them back.
Sign a petition.
Backstreet Boys are back. No, that's NSYNC.
That's a bad band.
That's a bad band.
Them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time. No, we won't. I'll see you on As the Crow Flies Hiking. Oh,
And I know how to backpack.
there's Dougie. Backcountry Pilgrim. Photo Bob. All right, see you guys. Thanks. That was fun.
That was good.
Thank you.
Yeah.